Hey guys, and welcome to the sixth part already on this tutorial on how to make a cave level inside Unity. As you can see, today we're gonna texture the cave itself. You can see that I've put my level inside Substance Painter and I've added my maps to it, so my normal map and occlusion map. I didn't use a curvature map because it's a cave, so it doesn't have that much curve, so I'm just gonna skip it for now. But I did make a level ID or an ID map, which I will show you how to use it later on. In this case, it's actually really helpful. So we're just gonna start. First off, I'm gonna make a fill layer as usual. I'm gonna pick a texture. I've loaded in some rocks, rock textures already. And I'm gonna drag this one in here because I tested it that this one looks best. So I'm gonna up the scale, maybe a little bit less, so you get a nice rocky feel to it. Something like this. I can also put this one here in the roughness, the specularity channel map. I'm gonna just load it there, and maybe you can up the metallic, but for now I'm just gonna. It actually looks pretty good though, but let's see what it looks like. Kinda cool. Let's leave it for this for now. We can always change it later on. So first thing first, this looks pretty good, but we want to break up the colors. Right now it's a bit bland and it's the same color pretty much everywhere, so that's the first thing we're going to break up with a different texture. I'm going to paint a lot inside my UV itself, so F2 means my 3D view and F3 means my texture view or UV view. It's a bit easier to see what I'm doing, so it makes my life a bit easier when I'm trying to texture it. So first thing first, I'm going to add a new fill layer, and I'm gonna pick a new texture that I kind of want to use. I want to use a darker one for this, maybe something like this. See what it looks like in my 3D view. Okay, this is not that great, but let's up the scale. Oh, I should really link it. Maybe something like this. Let's use a different one, or this one. Let's add some roughness to it, so it's actually rock. But the color difference is not that. No, actually it looks pretty good. It's okay. So again, we're gonna add a black mask. This one here, and then I'm gonna paint white. This time I'm gonna do it differently. I'm actually gonna paint on it. So I'm in my grayscale here. I'm gonna set it to white. So white means that it will show through. And I'm gonna make my brush a lot bigger. I'm just gonna paint. Maybe a bit too much, but just tap. Let's just tap. Let's go to my colors. A bit easier to see. I just wanted to have it show through. Nothing more. Something like just tapping gently. Maybe some stroking here and there, just to break it up. So the cool thing is we can always change this layer if we don't want it, if we don't like it. So because we use a mask, not the actual texture, so we don't destroy it if it all fails. Let's see what it looks like. So let's turn this one off, see what the difference is. You can see it breaks it up a little bit better. I like it. Let's add one more even to the stack, so let's use maybe something like this. Would that be cool? It's nice and dark though. Let's add roughness again, so it looks like rock. Yeah, this will do. This will do. Oh, again, black mask, and in my texture view, same here. I'm gonna paint it, and we'll do the same thing. So just paint over it. Oh, too much. Too much. Undo. Okay. Oh, my bad. Okay. Just tap again, so it just shines through a little bit more. We don't want it to be too obvious, or too fake or too textured. I just want to look natural-ish. Okay, maybe a bit more here, there. I'm just tapping it, nothing more. So it just adds the actual brush. Maybe we can set this one to multiply and see what it looks like. Yeah, that's cool. So we got a bit more darker parts in there. This is exactly what I want. Let's turn it down. Okay, there you go. Let's go to the actual color. Yeah, you can see here and there's some more darker spots. Maybe let's do it even more. Maybe this time with the brush a little bit smaller. Again, just tap it. so it just shines through, nothing more. Just keep on tapping. That's perfect. Ish. I just want to get some darker colors in there, so there's more of a higher color contrast to it. So it just makes it look more interesting. Otherwise, everything will be pretty grey and dull colors. But we kind of want to have contrast in here. So let's do something like this. Let's check again. Much better. Let's see what it looks like with the actual shader. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. I like that. Okay. So what I kind of want is that the path that the player walks on is a different texture. So it's more obvious that it's an actual path and not just some random rock formation. To do this, I'm gonna, well, again, add a fill layer. I'm gonna choose one. I think I want to use this one. Let's up it. Again, the roughness. So it's just a bit lighter than the rest. That's cool. Okay, and then I'm gonna add a mask with color selection. Then I can actually pick my color. In this case, I want it to be red, so I'm gonna pick my red color. Oh, this I got the blue one. I'm gonna zoom in. I'm gonna inside the actual model itself. There we go. Now I'm gonna pick my color, so it's red. What this does is it filters everything out that isn't red. So, and then it cuts it off. So you can see that now only the parts that are red in my ID map are visible. Of course, you can also change it, so I'm gonna decrease the hardness so it's a bit more soft around the edges as well, and maybe multiply this as well so for the effect. So you can see it just filled the entire path with the color that I selected. It's very cool, it's very helpful as well. Let's make it even more blurry, maybe a little bit more around the edges, something like this. You can also change the output value so it's not that harsh. Let's see, this is okay, but it's not really visible, so let's change the lighting to something like lighten. Let's change the lighting as well. It's there, you can see it's there, but it's not really that visible. Let's do screen. That's a bit better. So now a bit more obvious that this is the path that the player should follow. Maybe a little bit lower, so it's not that bright. Okay. Cool. Looks pretty good. Again, let's go to my texture view, and again I want to add some color variation in there. Let me just give my layers a name, so I'm gonna call this a rock base. Oh, I'm shit, really don't have to double tap. There you go, rock base 2. And rock base 3, and I'm gonna call this layer path. There you go. Again, I want color variation there, or color contrast, so I'm gonna add a new layer just this time, and I'm gonna pick my dirt brush, or this dirt brush, any dirt brush, and I'm gonna add a texture to it, something that's a little bit lighter, maybe something like, I don't know, yes, it was this one. In the color, I'm gonna turn off height, rough, and metal. I'm just gonna set it to multiply so it gets darker. And again, I'm just gonna paint over it, just quick and dirty. You can actually see the spots popping up. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit more, make the brush a bit smaller, and then I'm gonna paint. You can see it adds some really interesting effects to it, so it actually looks like dirt. Same here, just gonna stroke it one time, maybe let's do it twice. So it just adds some color variation there, so every part that is a little bit lighter, there's a player path I'm gonna make darker again, or add detail, color detail. Same here. And here. One more here. And one more there. Same here. There you go. That's pretty cool. Let's check it out. See, you get some nice spots in there. So let's turn it down a little bit, because I don't want it to be that high contrast. Something like this. That's cool. That's cool. Let me just quickly save it. I'm gonna call this cave. So in the previous lessons as well, or previous tutorial, we talked about the importance of dirt and why you really need to add it. I'm going to do the same thing here. So around the parts here where the colors, what the path goes into the walls itself, I'm going to add dirt. So I'm going to use something like maybe I had a cool brush in here, fingerprint mold, that one. And again, I'm going to add something like a lighter one, or maybe this one, and I'm going to set it to multiply again. With a small brush, I'm just going to paint around the edges, so where it stopped. You can see that you get a nice darker color in there. So we just have a bit of a differentiation between the path and the actual wall. And it just looks cool, because it also adds to the contrast in your level. It just looks better. So same here, here, and just pretty much add it everywhere you can. Same here, and just gently stroke it. This part is a bit special. We'll come back to that one as well, because that's the hole in the wall where we can look through. Oh, I've lost it. Where it is? There it is. Just keep on adding the dirt. Just add dirt. When it comes to texturing, dirt, well, is your friend, to be honest. And just do this one really quickly as well. I'm gonna add dirt around the edges, so it pops out our texture. And maybe later on I'll just add a bit of a white or a little bit lighter color towards the edges, so it pops out even more. So let's see what else. Did I miss something? Probably. It's fine. Let's do it here as well. This is a bit weird, but that's fine. Just add it here as well. It's a little bit more obvious here. It's there, but it's not that bright. So just keep on adding. Okay, I think we had it all. Same here. On this part we can actually paint over this one here, and it will add it to the wall as well. Sweet. Oh, here, let's add it. You don't have to be that precise, to be honest. As long as it looks pretty okay, you'll be fine. After all, it's dirt, so if it's a bit weird and a bit, well, not perfect, it's fine. We actually want to achieve that. Okay, let's have a look in the 3D view. You can see around the corners that looks pretty well. Actually, that looks pretty nice. I'm digging this. This is cool. It's not perfect, but it's fine. I'm glad it's not perfect. This one here, I've got this one here, so I'm gonna go in again and just paint around the edges. This part here will be the end of our level, where something will happen. I don't know what yet, but we'll just figure it out when we actually get to that part, which will be the next part. Is actually in the next part we're gonna import everything inside Unity, and we're just gonna add some gameplay, minor gameplay, like picking up a torch, for example, or something like turning off the lights, that sort of cool stuff. And we're gonna add a scene, the famous scene from I think it was the Temple of Doom from Indiana Jones, where the giant boulder chases Indiana. In this case, Indiana will be us, so we'll have a giant boulder coming after us. To make it a bit more interesting and a bit more fun as well. It's also really fun to do. And it's actually surprisingly simple, which is even better, of course. Let's do it here as well, and that part here, so I'm gonna add it. Okay, maybe a bit more here. Looking good, looking good. Let's zoom out. Do it here, on the edges. But this is the part where the stairs are. Okay, let's save it and let's have a look. This looks pretty damn good. This is really fucked up because of the normal map, but we're just gonna ignore it. Let's zoom in here. We can actually paint inside the model itself. Just gonna add. I'm just gonna fuck it up, to be honest. Because we'll be adding a different terrain here inside Unity, where we can actually paint grass and trees on and other fluffy happy things that makes us all happy. So this is just pretty much for shits and giggles, but why not? Why not? Okay. This looks pretty damn good, if I say so myself. So I'm gonna call this one player path dirt, and this is the player path edge dirt. Edge dirt. There you go. Overall it looks pretty good. We got an overall nice feeling to it. I like it. Looks pretty damn nice. Nothing weird going on here. It's not perfect, but I mean, this is the a tutorials and not a complete production. So for this purposes, it will work. It will just do fine. Let's have a look. This part here, maybe we can change it here a little bit. Add some dirt here as well to the sides there. Okay. So look at the texture and save it again. I think it was this part actually. So I'm gonna do the same thing here. I'm just gonna add dirt to it. There you go. Same here, dirt. We just want to have dirt. Let's go to our color. You can see there's still a lot of tiling though. I'm not too fond of that, so I'm gonna remove this one, and off the rock base I'm gonna add a new layer. I'm gonna again grab the dirt, and I'm gonna add a different texture. Maybe something like this one. Let's see. I'm just gonna make my brush really big, and I'm just gonna paint. I'm just gonna go nuts. I'm just gonna paint over it so we get rid of that tiling. It just looks sloppy and really not cool. I'm just gonna paint very roughly over it. It's not perfect. You don't have to make it perfect. We don't want it to be perfect. Just get over it. Okay. So it's not pretty much covering everything, and now I'm just gonna lower it down. So it's still there, but it's just breaking up the tiling. There you go. Let's see what it looks like in the material. It's there. Let's maybe turn it to multiply. It kind of fixes the tiling issue. Let's see it again. Here, yeah, it's still there, tiling, but hey, it's not that bad. It's not that visible anymore, so it's pretty good. Same here though. Let's add it there and here. You can do it again with a different texture. So again, let's load a different one. Let's do a light one again, something like this. And we're gonna do the same thing all over again. So I'm just gonna paint over it. Just go to town really. And just add it so we just get rid of the tiling issues even more. There it is. Lower the opacity again. Maybe let's also set this one to multiply. Let's makes it pretty dark now. Let's just grab the eraser one. Let's grab the dirt brush and just make it really big and just tap. Just like we did before in the previous one, just tap, just to get rid of the colors. Gentle tapping. So it's there, but it's not that present. So let's go to our viewer again. See what it looks like. I'm gonna make this one smaller. That's annoying. Thank you. And that's pretty much fixes things. Let's turn it around. Since it's a cave, it will be very dark. Well, not that dark, but dark. You can actually mimic that upcoming situation by just lowering down the environment exposure to something like minus. So then you get an idea what it will look like very roughly. And the texture holds up pretty damn well, if I say so myself. You can actually change it again so the lighting changes. This looks pretty damn good. Also, you can increase it, of course, but you probably don't want that. But something like this will be like the final level. ambient lighting, maybe even lower, something like this. Just it looks pretty okay right now, so I'm gonna set it back to 0 so I can see what the hell I'm doing. I'm gonna save it again. Okay, so now everything's pretty much brown and black and grey. So we're gonna add some actual color in there. First I'm gonna call this rock base 4. I'm just gonna call this one rock base 5. It's actually pretty difficult coming up with names for layers. Let's call this one rock base 5. Okay. So I've got a moss texture somewhere. There it is. No, they said bump map. Moss, this one. It's just a green moss. It's actually, oh, I should import it. There you go. See, it's just moss, as the name, well, guessed it. So at top I'm gonna add a different layer. This one, and I'm gonna grab my mold again, or maybe this one actually. I'm gonna turn it down by a lot, and I'm gonna go again to my texture, my UV texture, and I'm gonna drag in my moss. Just for the color. You can maybe put it as well to the rough and metal, so it gets a little bit shinier. That would be fun. Let's see what it looks like. It's just a little test though, so let's see what it looks like. Just gonna paint it. Yeah, this is too shiny. This is way too shiny. You get this, you can actually see it changes the lighting dramatically. Bit too much, so let's make it a little rougher, a little less metallic, and again just paint. See what it looks like now. You can even add the height map to it, so exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to grab the bump map that is there. I'm just gonna drag it in. I'm gonna use this one for the height. So I'm gonna drag and control on height and put in the height map, maybe even in the roughness as well. Let's see what happens then. So delete this layer, add a new one, and again go to town. The height map, the bump map isn't of that spectacular quality, so we don't want to overdo it, but I kind of like it. So, but then we can actually lower down the height of it. So it's lower it down, so it's still there. See, it's still there, tiny little bit, but not that in your face there. So maybe like 6. No, 10. See, it's still there. Okay, so let's do it for real now. Let's add here, but I'm gonna lower down the brush by a lot. I don't want it to be too big. I'm just gonna paint some parts of it. I'm just gonna go in here. A place where I want there to be a moss, so maybe here as well on the bottom side. Maybe some here at the edges. The level. Let's go it up. I just want to see where I want it to be, so let's maybe something like there. Maybe here as well on the bottom side. A little bit bigger, and then just add patches of moss. You don't have to be precise. Just some random patches, some happy moss patches. Maybe here one as well. It's just meant to break up the colors, otherwise everything will be very, well, boring color scheme, so we want to avoid that. So we're just going to add some green to it, make it feel a bit more lush, like an actual cave that's alive, and to a certain extent, by just adding stuff that grows in there. So like just moss, or randomly scattered moss. Maybe let's change the brush as well, this one. And again, just add the patches. Oh, that's bad. So it's here. Of course, we're gonna not use this the way it is right now. So we're gonna change some stuff later on to this layer. So we're gonna get rid of some patches in there, or just delete some stuff in it, because I don't really like it too much. Otherwise, it's gonna look very painted. That's exactly what I want to avoid. So some small patches here and there, just go to town really. Maybe one here. Let's do one here on the ground, why not, right? Fuck it. Live a little. Maybe one here as well. And one here in the middle there. Maybe here. It's just adding happy little patches of moss. And on top here, maybe one here as well. Okay. You see there's now a little bit more color variation in there, so it's a little bit better. Now not everything is just boring grey, so again let's lower the height by a lot, so I'm gonna use 10. Let's see if we like it, if we still like it, and put it that way. So let's turn it around, the lighting. It's a bit more interesting. Perfect? No, it's not perfect, but it just adds a bit more to it. Some patches are just weird though. I kind of want to hit the ground so that they grow. So you have to feel that they've grown. So this one here as well. This one just looks stupid. So let's do it up there. And here. We want here as well. Giant patch on the ground. There. Same here, giant one. Here, so that they feel a bit more grounded. Like they belong there and not just like happily painted there by some random dude on a computer sitting at home. And one here as well. So, okay, let's have a look at it again. See, this just feels better. Okay. Let's go to the shader. Cool. Okay. Then we're gonna go to here again, and I'm gonna check color, and I'm gonna erase stuff again, as usual. So it feels less painted on. So see now this just looks better. Maybe a tap more even here as well. So every part that you texture that you add a mask to, you're just gonna get rid of some of it, just to break it up. Otherwise it will feel very painted on. So again, just tap, 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 tap. Just get rid of it. Some patches in between. Don't forget to save, by the way. Sounds stupid, but it's a very common mistake. After a while, you'll develop this very bad habit of hitting Ctrl S all the time. It's not. It sounds like a good idea, but when the files get really big, for example, I worked on a project where the files were like 1.2 gig. So saving it took like 5 minutes, and because of my habit where I just hit Ctrl S every time I do a major change, I spend a lot of time setting backwards and just saying like, yeah, fuck, that was stupid. Good times. Let's see this one here. It's bad. Okay. I think that were all of them. So one more here. One more patching pass. Okay. Maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just here multiply. If you have noticed, I just love using multiply. It looks cool and it doesn't look cool at the same time. So let's do it in normal. Okay. You can also change, like, you can add levels to it, so you make it a little bit darker or lighter if you want to. Yeah, I kind of want to be a little bit darker though, something like this maybe. Maybe darker there. There you go. That's too much. You can also, of course, do this well for the other ones. And even RGB, so you can actually add blue to it. For example, I want to add more blue. You can add blue. That's kind of cool though. By accident. Well, not by accident, of course. It's never done by accident. Maybe too dark though. Let's make it a little bit. Otherwise, it simply won't show. It'll be a bit of a waste. Okay. Sweet. Looking good. Looking good. Looking pretty damn good. So these are the height maps. This is the roughness and this is the metallic. Metallic looks good. Okay. There you go. I'm gonna change the panorama though. The HDR, I don't like this one. I want to get a bit more diffuse lighting and just gonna turn down the. Get a bit more idea what it will look like. This is pretty good. Okay. This is more of a diffuse lighting, so it's easier to texture and see what it actually looks like, without getting weird results. Because of the, for example, the sunlight changes the actual color of the objects that it's shining on. So I mean, because it's a yellow light, so everything will have this yellowish tint to it, and that can be very confusing when you start texturing, because everything will look yellowish, and then you load it into Unity or Maya or whatever. and then it doesn't look that yellowish anymore, so then you fucked up, and then you can go back again and change it all if you're unlucky. So I'd draw a text with a very diffuse shader or diffuse lighting. We get a bit of a better idea. So I'm gonna call this moss. Okay. I'm gonna go here again, and now we're gonna use the particle system just to add something more, a bit more of an interesting shape to it. So maybe we can evenly add. Let's see what it does when we add rain. I know it doesn't make any sense, but let's just see what it looks like. So just hold it. Oh, helpful. Or not. There you go, much better. Let's bring the rain. Okay. You actually get some puddles here. That's really cool. Now I set it to multiply. You can actually see what it does. Well, not that much, to be honest. Do we even see the difference? I don't. Oh, that was useless. Let's try Sandstorm, because why not? Wait for it. Okay. Multiply it, it's barely visible. Or not. I don't even know if they're actually hitting the actual objects on the inside, but let's go here. Okay. Let's just do it the old fashioned way. So first I'm gonna use the heavy leaking one. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna assume that something falls down here. Why won't you work? That's very annoying. That's very annoying actually. Oh, let's just do it here. It's fine as well. Just paint on it and get it to work, and then just set it to multiply, so you get some more interesting colors in here. You should, we are some tiny color differentiation there, I think. That's interesting. That's annoying. Or did I fuck up? I probably did. Yeah, I fucked up. Good times. Sometimes I'm not awake, as you can see. Let's add this one. Let's not paint on the rough. So, okay. Let's do that again. Let's try that one again. So, here you can see it actually fills it up really nicely. This is way too much though, but you get an idea what it can do. This is way too much, of course. So I'm gonna do it again. Maybe this time the rain actually works. Would be cool. So let's bring on the rain. Just wait for it. So that's an 8-second simulation. That's it. Multiply. See, there we go. It's gentle. It's kind of cool. I'm gonna lower it though by it's like 70%. So you still get the idea that it has some moisture dropping inside here, but not that much. No. Let's not do that. Let's try the sandstorm again. It actually works. There it is. There we go. It sounds weird having a sandstorm in a fucking cave, but hey, why not? If it works, it works. Does it work though? That would be a big fat no. Okay, well that puts a bit of a letdown. Let's try the liquid stream. Holy crap. Boom. Yeah, no. Let's try that again. Liquid stream, and then just gonna change the size of it. It's actually already tiny though. It's a bit of annoying. Let's make it really tiny, like 0.2. It might be too tiny. It's too tiny. Okay, let's do liquid stream, and then maybe something like 0.4. And let's have it start from the player location. So I'm gonna hit it here. Then I'm gonna move outwards. So you can see it actually forms this line in the middle, like an actual river would do, an actual stream. Looks weird as fuck, but it looks really cool. Let's do it again. Let's do it more. So I actually get this idea that there was a river inside here. That's cool though, let's face it, that's cool. Of course we're gonna lower it down by a lot over the opacity, so don't worry about that one. So you can see I'm actually still streaming downwards. That's funny. Let's do it again. Just here, and just do it, and here as well. Should form here a lot actually, it is. It is, so let's do it again here. That's cool. And here as well. Just follow the actual shape of your mesh. Then inside here, let's do it around the corners. See, it creates these very organic shapes that we kind of want to have. It just looks very organic, and it's just perfect. Here as well, so just drag it and watch the magic happen. It just creates these very cool organic shapes on the floor and on the ground that we want to have. Let's continue here. Then we're almost done. And here, just add it. Maybe here as well on top. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Because we can, right? So it's perfectly valid excuse for everything. Because we can. Here as well. Okay, let's do more here. A little bit more. Perfect. Let's lower it down so it's there but not that present. So something like this. No, cool. Let's save it. Let's call this liquid. New layer, and I'm gonna use the heavy leaking. I'm gonna lower it down by a lot, like 0.1, 0.2. Let's see what it does. Probably still too much though. Is it? Yeah. No, it needs to be bigger. So same thing here, so 0.3. Let's see what it does then. Let's multiply straight away. It's easier. See what it does. Yeah, that's cool. So it just adds to the structure of our cave and adds contrast to it, contrast to the texture without us having to do that much work. Which is perfect, of course. So by just clicking and just dragging on this particle system, you actually increase the texture contrast and color contrast. It's almost like faking an ambient occlusion map, because these particles actually follow the normal map as well. So it's not just the mesh that follows the phase normals, but also the normal map, which is just fucking brilliant. I have no idea how they did that, but I'm very impressed by it though. So same here, other side. Yeah, cool. Oh, my bad. This one, it just keep on going and keep on going till we're done. Still one here. Of course, we're gonna lower this one down as well, the opacity. I don't want to be that visible. It will just be distracting to a certain extent. I don't want that. I want it to be cool and not distracting. And just keep on adding and adding. Bit of time consuming process, but it's totally worth it in the end. That's pretty much, well, 3D in general. It's time consuming, but it's very satisfying. Let's add it more. Go back again to make it a bit more. Yep, that's it. That's the spot. And here. think I've done most parts. I hope so, at least. Bit boring, but hey, we're almost there. I hope. It's pretty hard to tell actually, but here. Of course, you don't have to do everything though, but okay, let's just do this part here still and then just call it a day. It's annoying, it's a bit boring to do, so let's add them on here. Let's just go nuts. There you go. See what the actual shader where it looks like. Yeah, that's sexy. It looks like we have a very high detailed map, so if you turn it off again, you can actually see it just adds to the detail of the texture, so it's really helpful in that regard. That looks pretty damn sweet. Let's so check it out. So this is the color map. Cool. As you saw, the streams or the particles they actually add as well to the different channels, so this becomes more shiny. So you have this like wet feel to it. So I'm gonna call it stream. I'm gonna lower it down a little bit though. I don't want to be that something like 80%. Something like this. Yeah, that's good. That's good. Of course, if you want to, you can also add some decals to it. So like words or something on the objects or on this kind of cave, for example. Or you could even add something like a map for the emissive map. So then you can actually add something to it, and then it becomes very, well, it can give light, for example. So let's just do that for a second. I'm just going to add a new fill layer. I'm just going to turn off everything except for the emissiveness. Now it's black, so I can actually add a color to it. Then it starts giving light. I mean, that is pretty damn cool if you ask me. It's turned off actually right now, so you can actually up it as well, the emissive intensity. So you can have like things in the walls, like certain cracks that's starting to give light because you entered a certain room, or well, tons of applications for it. So that's, maybe we can actually use like something like the rock base, for example. You also turn on emissiveness, and we use the terrain 8. It's, I have no idea which one that is. This one, I think. That 8? That's 8. Now I actually start giving light. I mean, this isn't perfect though. Let's be real. But you could add something like this map to it. The rock. And now you can actually see. I'm not gonna do that though, so I'm gonna turn it off again. I'm gonna get rid of this map entirely. So I'm gonna save it. I think we're ready to actually start testing it out, the entire level inside Unity. I mean, because this looks good, but you never know what it's gonna look like in the actual game. That's one of the downsides. You just have to try it and see what it looks like. I think it will look pretty. It will work quite well, but I don't know. So I'm gonna test it. I'm gonna finish it. I'm gonna maybe add some little bit more detail to it, and then I'm just gonna test it in. So next time we're gonna start doing things in Unity. So I hope I'll see you again then. And just have fun texturing your cave or whatever you're working on, and just have fun. I'll see you guys next time.